The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
So the story is like this. Shlomo Kaddish is a young man. He is a genius. His name is Avishai Halevi Horowitz. Comes from a rich family. Comes from a noble family. Marries a shver who got the catch of the century. He's going to be supported the rest of his life. Gets married. The world is his. What a mazel that a chas and kala don't see what's ahead of them. He is 30 years old. He becomes the Rav of Frankfurt. And he becomes a member of the Vad Arba Hu Arotzes, which was a committee that oversaw all of Yehados in Europe. Then he was kicked out of Frankfurt. All the Jews were kicked out of Frankfurt. Each and every one of them. That's what used to happen in those days. Girish, pack your bags, you're out of here by the next morning. Leave your buildings, leave your office buildings, leave your apartment houses, you're out of here. Leave your home, leave your rentals, you're out of here. Gone, goodbye. We in America, we're safe, right? There's no anti-Semitism here. We live in the world, right? Okay. So he goes to Prague. He became Rav over there. Shlomo Kaddish became Rav together with the Rav in Prague, the Oilei Ephraim. The two were joint Rabbanim. Don't hold your breath for that to happen again. The Oilei Ephraim is nifter, he becomes Rav of Prague. He loses his wife, faces personal tragedy. He decides that he is moving to Eretz Yisrael. Then all of his money disappears. That he had, and Gevirim get together. It took a long time because he wasn't going to go unless he knew he can support himself. Takes the land route, comes to Tzvas, and they beg him to come to Yerushalayim. He comes to Yerushalayim. He had 80 people by his Sudais, and then the Pasha or whatever it was just threw him into prison, and him and a lot of other Jews, and demanded that he should a tremendous amount of money to free him. He runs off to Tveria. He winds up passing away in Tveria. Okay. Now, in Prague, he's on his way to Eretz Yisrael. And all of a sudden, all his money is gone. It was put into a secret place. There's different legends about this, but some say in the axle of the wagon, and they open up the axle to take out money for gas or something, and it's gone. It's empty. Somebody was boidik chametz. It's gone. And the Shlomo Kaddish says, I just robbed my whole plan of going to Eretz Yisrael, my whole life I'm supposed to live on. And they started asking him the question, who else knew what was there? The only one that knew what was there is the Shlomo had taken along with him a bacher, a big guy that was going to be his gabbai. So they began to interrogate him, and one chacham said, he's not breaking, we're going to go to the police. And the police was called in, and it became a very high-profile case. The Shlomo Kaddish at this time did everything within his power to withdraw the charges. He says, we don't know that he's the Ganav. No, it has to be. He's the only one. And eventually, as per law, during that time, they cut off this person's ear. Okay, mind you. And he disappeared. No one knew what happened to him. Shlomo Kaddish was extremely distressed about this. It took a very long time till they were able to raise the funds again, and he took the land route. And he's in Syria. And he's in Aleppo, one of those towns, and he stays, he's going to be Pesach by a rich Gevir. This guy comes in, he has a tremendous Hadras Panim, white beard, and right before the Seder, he calls the Shlomo into the next room, and they lock the door, and the Shlomo says, it's a Shiloh, emergency Shiloh, I don't know, private Shiloh. And he grabs the Shlomo, and before he knows what hits him, he has him tied up to a chair, and he pulls out a big sword, and says, I'm going to kill you. He goes, why? I don't have to tell you why. And he picks up the sword, and the Shlomo begins to scream. It's not going to help to scream. The doors are closed. No one's going to hear you. And he says to the person, can I at least say vidui? He says, yeah, sure. I'm a good Jew. I'll let you say vidui. And the Shlomo says vidui like he never said before in his life, after all he went through in his lifetime. And the man lifts the sword and kaplunk with the dull side of the sword. Which is good the way a sword has a dull side, by the way. And all of a sudden he moves his payas, his wide payas and beard away from his ear. That's when the Shlomo notices that he is a single ear person. He says, I'm the guy. So the Shlomo begins to explain to him that it just took on a life of its own. He says, yeah, but I say you indirectly were the cause of all the pain I went through. And I made it here to Aleppo and I became wealthy. And he says, the Shlomo said, you michael me. He said, I was machli all along. But I was still scared there would be a kitrug on you, there would be a prosecution on you when you go to Eretz Yisrael. So therefore I wanted you to go through this trauma, this experience, because that's what they did to me, that you should come with kaparas havainas. So that's why the Shlomo Kaddish, if you look, Hilchas Vidui is right near Hilchos Pesach. What is the big chiddush in this story? The big chiddush in this story is that if I was the Shloach HaKadosh, I would have said, "You maniac, what you are!" You know what I mean? I would have let him out. I would have read the riot act. I mean, I would have called in all the people in Shugana. You know what he did to me? No, Shloach HaKadosh accepted it. Right? Pesach night, he's crying, saying vidui. You know what? No question, this is not the thing to do. If you have a guy that you want him to have a kapara, don't tie him up and say you're going to kill him. This is not the way to do it. But look, mitzad the shlo. It happened Pesach. This is what happened. Gegangen weiter. Life is going to go on. And that every single Pesach, he incorporated this trauma into his Pesach. That's what the billboard said. After all the shlo went through in his life, he had to go through this experience. It's an appreciation of life through his many afikaim.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org